Possibilities with Toastmaster Mariam Haji.
Do you have a dream?
Yes.
So I ask you to close your eyes right now and envision your future. Is there something that you wish you had that you don't have right now? Do you have a plan to achieve that dream? Because they always tell you there are certain ingredients for success. And those ingredients involve having a plan. And then they involve a big bunch of things like never giving up, fighting for your dream, perseverance, never accepting failure. Success is just a series of failures until you succeed and not give up, and all of that stuff that we hear all the time, right? Well, I call bull shoulders. Why, my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests? Because I too had a dream. I've had the same dream for as long as I can remember, and that dream is very simple. I wanted to spend my time helping people, and I wanted to do that by becoming a doctor. And I had a very solid, good plan, and I spent my whole life walking that plan and trying to make it happen. And I graduated from high school, I got into medical school, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and I hit a wall. I failed a major subject. Now, there are two types of failure in life. There's the type where you deserve it, and you know you deserve it, and it comes like a slap in the face to wake you up and get you to improve and to change. And then there's the type of failure that leaves you like, what? But how? Why? My failure was the second type. And I'd done everything right. I worked really hard, I studied, I paid attention in class, but I failed, and I didn't get it. Well then, they tell you that for you to succeed, what you gotta do is, you shouldn't accept failure, you gotta get back up and you need to fight. So I did. I worked extra hard. I formed a bunch of study groups, I started teaching people, hoping that teaching them would teach me, and I worked as hard as I could possibly work. And I went into my exams, and I came out, and I had this really good technique. Instead of going to check my grades, I waited for the people in my study group to check their grades. And I figured if they passed, then I passed too, right? Okay, they got their grades, all of them passed. I was so happy. I went to check my grades and I succeeded at failing. Miserably this time. Like, miserable failure. And again, all right. At this point, my college very, very politely informed me, Mariam, you kind of need to leave, or we will make you leave. So, naturally, I stayed, and I kept on fighting. And this time, I wasn't going to take failure as an answer. This time, I was going to pass if it was the last thing that I did. So, I put every ounce of energy that I possessed into studying. I worked harder than I had ever worked in my entire life combined. I lived and breathed medicine. I worked so hard that I literally did not sleep. I did not eat. I turned into a skeleton zombie. I was scaring people. But I wanted to succeed. And I went into my exams, and I came out, and I checked my grades, and I succeeded. For real this time. Top 15 of my class. I was so ecstatic. Except, my college told me, Mariam, it's just a little bit too late. You really need to leave now. So, I was forced to transfer out of the medicine program. And it's okay because they gave me a consolatory prize. You failed at medicine. Here, have a useless degree in health sciences. A simply useless degree. And I used it to apply for medicine again because I have a dream and you should fight for your dream. And I applied to every medical school on the face of the earth. I applied to schools in countries I didn't know existed. And I managed to get in. To nowhere, naturally. So at this point, I had been fighting for my dream for a total of 7 years. 7 brutal years of failing and trying to get back up and fight again. And I was exhausted. I was more exhausted than I can even begin to tell you. So I did the unthinkable. I committed the cardinal sin when it comes to dreams. I gave up. I gave up on a 25-year-old dream. That should have been the end. They tell you giving up is the end. Except that it was my beginning. 3 years later, I found a new dream. One that suits me 10,000 times better than medicine ever did. All that little girl ever wanted to do was help people. Well, I'm a nutritionist now, and I get to help people every minute of the day, whether they want my help or not. The problem is, what we don't realize is that we are told that we should do certain things to succeed. So we have all of these preconceptions in our minds. We should do this and this and this. We should have a specific way to reach our dreams. What we don't realize is that all that ever does is it gives us tunnel vision. So any obstacle that comes in your way, you don't see a way around it. You have to fight your way through. You have to climb over, climb under, but you don't see a way out. Except, if you think about it, there are 7.6 billion human beings on this planet, each of them completely unique. That means that there are literally more than 7.6 billion different ways that we can all reach that end destination of success and happiness. And if we realize this, then what we're doing is we are broadening our horizon. And suddenly we realize that the world is full of possibilities and opportunities. And that obstacle that comes in your path, you don't have to break it, you don't have to climb over it, you can just take a turn and go from the other side. You can get on a helicopter and fly over. There are so many different ways. They tell you you should do this and you should do that. But there is no right way. There is no one way to reach success. I spent 7 years of my life fighting, doing what I should do. And I wasted 7 years of my life. In the 3 years since I gave up the cardinal sin, I've achieved more than the 7 years that I was fighting. I had enough mental space to do other things. Nutrition wasn't easy. I still had to fight for it. But it filled me with energy instead of draining my life away as medicine had. I have a master's degree in food science from a university that is way better than my shouldery college before. I have achieved so much. I'm a Toastmaster because I've had enough time to actually come and join the club. And I've given workshops on nutrition. I've changed people's lives. None of it would have been possible if I was still stuck in that same spot, banging my head against that obstacle, trying to get through. What I'm trying to tell you is give up. Is not my message. My message is simple. Realize that the world is full of endless possibilities. There is nothing that you should or should not do. There is only what is right for you as an individual, which is going to be completely different from what is right for me. There is no paved road for success. There is only the way that you go. So lead the path, go wherever you may, and trust that in the end, you're going to be successful and you're going to be happy, which is what matters. And if anybody tells you, you should do this and you should do that, then you look them in the eyes and you tell them, I call bull shoulders. That's it.